Hans, we have a problem. Good morning! My name is Peter and this is my new Smart Roadster. A little bit of info about this car. I have bought it from a very nice, very old gentleman who was so nice to give me this car for 1,700 euros. It has 184,000 kilometers as of when I bought it. Right now it has above 185. Hasn't had a service in 3 years and has 2 different types of wheels, but it's all good because I've got the second set at home. This car was first registered in January of 2005. Of course, as all of the Roadsters do, it has the engine in the back with a 0.7 liter that makes 82 PS or 80 horsepower for the English viewers of you. It has, I don't know how many mismatched panels. Like this side kind of looks okay, but on the other side the paint's even worse. So it's already repainted. It's gonna have to have a second repaint, which is gonna be fun. The antenna is broken, but the wheels are good. However, they are winter wheels, and as we have it nearly August, that is perfect because the summer's nearly over. It also has this kind of funny thing where it usually has a soft top, but I ripped that thing out as reasons, and now it is a beautiful targa, which you can take with one stroke of your hand and remove it. Same you do on the other side. You take your hand, you put it in, you open it, there it is, and it kind of goes out. You might ask me, where does it go? And Smart thought of that in the mid-2000s when all of the businessmen were still coked up people that put V10s into family saloons and made go-karts for the street. That was a brilliant time. I wish we could go back to that because I fucking hate my i3 and being economical. What kind of idiot would think to take this away from humanity and replace it with a fucking electric car? I do not get it. But, however, you open it, there's a shit a load of space for one crate of beer. Fantastic! You see, it just works. But it's a 20-year-old car in essence. So things are meant to go wrong, as they do. So did already both of the mirrors. That is something. Usually one goes, but no, both. Then the electric window of the driver's side also doesn't work. And as you might have seen, the struts of the frunk, I don't know what they call it. It's a fucking Kofferraum at the front. So you take, as it is very nicely illustrated, pillar B is for the passenger peasant. You put it on and you put it in. There is a hole that you have to line up, so you gotta be good at that. And do the same with part number A. Brilliantly, lovely. And then you can kind of close it. And it's closed. And now you have a beautiful Roadster where you can also put a hardtop on it. That is something fun, isn't it? You could also get the Smart Roadster as the Brabus. Then it wouldn't have 80 horsepower, but 101, right? Imagine that! Thing only weighs 810 kilograms and you could get it with 100 horsepower. Of course that isn't enough. We are aiming for the like 280, 300 with this thing. I don't think it's gonna be doable with the stock engine, but we'll see. Next week anyway is gonna come the first service of said vehicle with the engine in the back, and that said engine I will show you. The engine, you can't really see it as they're brilliantly imported into the coupe, which you can recognize by those windows and this beautiful thing that you kind of hit your head on all the time. You open the so to say bonnet by removing a bit of insulation that you throw away. Then you unscrew a piece of metal that has a bit of insulation that you also throw away. And then you have a beautiful engine that you can see. The beautiful engine is a 3-cylinder 700cc that I believe has an intercooler and a turbo somewhere here. It has 6 spark plugs as they used to. 3 are here. The other 3 you have to either drill holes here into the bumper behind the license plate, which you can do if you live in the UK, because you guys have plastic license plates. Here in Germany, we beautifully have metal plates, and drilling a hole into the bumper kind of sounds like something unreasonable and stupid. So you have to take the entire bumper off to replace 3 of the 6 spark plugs. I know, German engineering at its best, right? You of course also cannot forget the interior with a car so small that you can genuinely steal the key from the ignition. And I'm not a tall guy. Well, this car, I'd say it's like 110, 130. With the roof pillar here, the beautiful Targa pillar, you do genuinely have to lean into this car to get in. But once you're in business. So, right into the interior, we see that it's I cannot understand why we cannot make such good cars nowadays. Like, I get the weight part, right? Make it maybe weigh 1,000 kilograms and you basically get a Miata. But why did Mercedes stop doing it? Like, they were so good at it. Like, footroom. This thing isn't even to the back. If I put the seat to the back, I cannot physically reach the wall where the brake pedal is mounted. That is how small, like how big the cabin is in such a small car. And it fucking baffles me why it's not possible nowadays. You got buttons. You get buttons. And your climate control also has buttons. And then it blows my mind. You can open the rear hatch with a button. But you can open the front hatch with a latch. But there's a red latch. It's like, why do I need a touch screen to do everything? Buttons were good. Like, yes, the door panels are kind of just door panels, but that's the nice thing about it. Nothing's overcomplicated. You get a little light up here. I suppose if God doesn't bring you enough light, then you have a little light. The passenger even gets a little sun visor, yeah. But the driver, yeah, Hans, the driver does not get the sun visor. Why? But, you know, that's like a small little stuff. That doesn't really matter. If you're driving the car, you want a car that's fun to drive. And that thing definitely fulfills that requirement. So let's hop into it and let's do a little driving test, yeah. Now we do a little sound test. Isn't that fun? You know, you put it into position 1, then you crank it. Let's go and go for the drive. But yeah, in terms of driving, this thing is genuinely a go-kart. So you can go in any corner you like, take it as aggressive. Ooh, like if you floor it as well, it has so much fun. Like, yes, 82 horsepower, but it's 800 kilograms. This thing has a power to weight ratio of, you know, your average 150 horsepower wagon. Just that as a little kind of difference, this thing weighs half of that. Taking corners, so to say, slow is what in other cars would be taking corners with extreme precision. This thing can go back roads in speeds that the German government would nowadays redeem too fast. As well, so to say, wind noise. If you're driving in a place where there isn't a lot of wind, there isn't a lot of wind noise. Makes sense. And in those areas, typically you get a harsh wind noise from like 120, but thankfully it has a radio with pretty bad speakers. The stock speakers were not the yellow of the egg, yeah, but for that they made an engine that is just fun. Where sometimes, if you do it right, you also get a little bit of turbo flatter. And you know, it just rips. Of course, my daily driver and comparison is a 65 PS Kia Picanto. So kind of by definition, what I find fast isn't gonna be that fast. But a thing the turbo has, and that it has always going for it, is when you're just driving, right? You are just driving day to day and you want to go down a gear and floor it. It has that point of initial kick that is enough to overtake someone. And that feels in that moment where the turbo builds a boost, where you just feel like you are a rally driver. Like that thing just gained 50 more horsepower just from you flooring it. So it doesn't really feel like 82 horsepower. You know, you put me in a car and tell me 82 horsepower, you don't think it's fast, but it's kind of just as fast as, you know, your average day-to-day car with just about 150, you know? And the way it just goes around corners, like, I'm not kidding. It's just glued to the street. There are no other words to describe this car other than go-kart. Because you press down on the gas and you do not have to lift the gas in any kind of corner. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And like the handling, it just genuinely, like it's glued to the ground. I don't know what else to say. It just drives fantastically. Out of all of the cars that I've driven in my life, this is the best driving car, the most fun driving car, and the car where I would say if it gets the right kind of exhaust, it's gonna be the best sounding car. Now, I do not understand where BMW, Mercedes, and the Volkswagen group went from making those kind of cars that were really, really fun, just amazing cars in general, and started making electric fucking cars. I do not understand that. Like, of course they are good cars. I'm not here to, you know, complain about electric cars, because everyone does that. I'm just saying, comparing an electric car to this, there are ways to make electric cars fun. And they are not that expensive. How I imagined, it went from putting V10s into family saloons, making go-karts for the street. Imagine that. Hans, coked up, goes to work on a random fucking evening 2008. And there he meets his executive, who says, Hans, we have a problem. The market crashed. And Hans is like, was? No. But then the executive tells Hans, yes, the market crashed. We can no longer make fucking fun cars. And Hans is like, nein. And then, you know, all of a sudden, from one day to the other, the office goes from coked up businessmen to people suddenly caring for the environment and making cars that are supposed to be good for the environment, because that's what they've been told. But nobody knows how to do that, because all that they have been doing for the last 30 years is snort cocaine and make fun cars. So that is kind of my theory, what happened, because BMW, like, I will say BMW because that is my benchmark. BMW kind of went from, you know, let's make the car that is fun to drive, and went to let's make the car that is good for the environment, yeah? And nowadays it feels, when you are driving a BMW, like you're driving a Kia. Like the new BMWs, if you would take away all of the badges, you wouldn't know that's a BMW. With this car, you would kind of know because it's small, but you would guess it's a kind of luxurious, very expensive car. Okay, that's that. My yapping session is over. Let's let the car do the talking. Okay, we are merging onto the German Autobahn. It says it's 120, so we kind of have to drive 120 until it tells us, hey, well, you can drive faster than 120, yeah? Also, what you don't see is it's about to rain, so I gotta kind of speed up. As I said, I do not have the soft top, as I ripped it off. It was a very nice sunny day, and I just kind of wanted to enjoy my kind of sporty wagon. We will wait until it says then we can yoink it. That is the German, you know, Untergrenzt sign. And then we will genuinely yoink it and see how fast it goes. So we are back in business. Up front is the Untergrenzt sign, and we are gonna yoink it. So this guy kind of needs to... Okay, there's traffic. We cannot really floor it when there's traffic, as German traffic is the worst traffic possible. In Germany there is a law where you have to drive on the right side of the Autobahn if you are not overtaking. Now Germans use that law with a grain of salt. I apologize if the wind noise is pretty bad. Like I said, we cannot do not have a roof, and the window is a little bit down as the window actuator is broken suddenly. Same thing on the passenger side. Okay. Oh, it made a turbo noise. You know, sometimes you can hear the turbo noise, sometimes you can't. But anyways, this was that. I do hope that you enjoyed it. And this is part one of a many-part video series of this car. It will be a complete restoration from front to back, and a little bit more. So if you're interested, please subscribe, please give the video a like, as saying that actually does boost the algorithm. I will go drive back before the weather hits, so I will spare you the wind noise. I've made a Patreon account to finance the project and finance what you will see now. As you can judge by those lines, I did a perfect drift, which I didn't.